Now I would like to welcome Mr. Grant Hicks. He will be talking on implementing strategy for financial advisors. He is a management coach, Canada. A very warm welcome to Mr. Grant. Over to you.
Excellent, thank you. You can making sure that you can see my screen on the presentation. You could hear me perfectly. Excellent. Well, thank you very much. So, thank you for having me. Today is about your practice. This is a chance to work on your business. It's about having the right mindset. It's about having the right language, and it's about having the right attitude to help you grow your business more than you ever thought possible in 2021. Today is about preparing your business for the future, and this is a critical time to work on your business. So, as a practice management expert, I've spent 30 years in the financial business, and I'm here to share some ideas, some strategies to help you get some reflection on what is currently happening, but more importantly, preparing you for the future. One of the books that I wrote, if you want a copy of it, you can shoot me an email to my private email, grant@ghicks.com. It's 5 years worth of research on what the best advisors do. So if you want a copy of that, feel free to send me an email. As we go through, I've also got additional material that we're going to talk about and reference. I've written 5 books in the industry, some on practice management, some on marketing. So I'm going to share some of these ideas. But so what we're going to get today is we're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to help you get some emotionally compelling offers so you can acquire more ideal families. And that's what we want to talk about today. The second thing is, what are elite financial advisors doing now to grow their business? What are they working on from a prospecting and a practice management point of view to help them grow their business? And I want to talk about those two things. So let's get started. The more value you give, the more valuable you become. The more value you give, the more valuable you become. So what do I mean by that? What we want to talk about is that I truly believe the most successful advisors of the past will not be the most successful advisors of the future. I discovered that what got the most successful advisors there is going to dramatically change in the future. And it's not about potentially the pandemic, but it's about how they're running their practice, how they're running their business, and what the value they are offering to their best clients and prospects. What do I mean by that? Well, let me tell you a little story. About 3 years ago, when I was traveling, I was meeting all these successful financial advisors. You see, I coach most practices that generate between $1 million and $10 million of revenue per year. So I work with those practices and I see what they're currently doing. I was an advisor for 20 years and I built up a practice of over 120 million. So I understand what it takes to get there. And also, I'm on the Wealth Professional Awards. So I see what top advisors do around the world. And one day, when I was traveling, I did about 50 flights that year. It hit me clear as day that the most successful advisors are doing the exact same things in the exact same way, and they have very similar processes. And it's the exact opposite of what everybody else is doing. And that's what I want to share with you today. I want you to think differently in the future. Number one is, we know the research says the wealthy people, 84%, engage emotionally first and logic second. Emotionally first and logic second. And yet I see more logical offers than ever before. And so most advisors talk about products, services, performance that eventually gets into planning advice that eventually engages the client on the emotional level. You see, the best advisors do it the exact opposite way. They start with the emotionally compelling offers that lead into planning and advice that they eventually deliver more products and performance. Now, don't get me wrong, you need products and performance to be successful, but you don't start with that. So how do you offer more value? How are you going to deliver more value in 2021? So what I want you to write down is, what is one thing you're going to deliver to your best clients and prospects in 2021? Take a minute to think about that. Write that down. I'm going to tell you a little story. A little firm in the United States called Charles Schwab 10 years ago decided to do one major value add to their best clients, prospects, and families each and every year. Hence, 10 years later, Charles Schwab has added 10 things of value to their best clients and families. And no one can catch up to them. So my thought for you is you want to generate more revenue, you need to deliver more value. So what is that value add going to be in 2021? Well, I want to start off with a question. What are your best prospects not currently getting? They come and talk to you. What are they not currently getting from their current advisor or institution? They might already be dealing with somebody. So I want you to take a minute and write down one, two, maybe three things that you see prospects aren't getting and why they're thinking of switching to you. So the question is, what are ideal prospects not currently getting? And so a common question when I ask an audience when I do speaking is communication. And you're absolutely right. How many touches or communications does your best clients want? It's 10 touches per year. So you need to build a process to get 10 touches or communications per year. That might be 2 or 3 meetings, 2 or 3 additional phone calls, 1 or 2 client appreciation, and another 1 or 2 special events or offers. 10 touches or communications for your best clients, not all your clients, your best clients. That might be your top 10, 20, or 25 ideal families that we want to target. Okay. Communication is always common. That communication has been the number one reason why people left. But I think I want to go beyond this and we want to deliver more value to your best clients. So I want to ask you a few questions today. How many of your wealthy clients have clarity around their future on paper? All of their values mapped out, all of their goals with complete clarity of what their future looks like mapped out on paper. You see, clarity is the number one thing the wealthy people are looking for. And when you use that word, clarity, would it be valuable if we helped you get clarity around your future and put that on paper? Would that be a valuable conversation? So the second thing is how many people are organized in all 7 areas of their financial life? I'll show you the 7 areas briefly, but it's tax, estate, investment, risk, insurance, debt, and cash flow. Tax, estate, investment, risk, insurance, debt, cash flow. How many people are completely organized in all of those areas of their financial life? The third thing is what we call fee audits. You see, people don't understand what they pay sometimes in the financial business, and they don't understand what they get. And so it's a bit of a tangible offer. I paid, X amount of dollars or rupees to get X amount of benefits. That's the tangible offers. But you deliver tangible and intangible offers. You deliver confidence, safety, security, peace of mind, and helping people understand what they're paying for and what they're getting. And then beneficiary audits to make sure that their estate is completely organized, and we'll summarize that on one page. How many people have comprehensive plan? Now, it's not the plan itself, but it's the probability of success of reaching their goals. So whenever you get into a difficult situation with someone, always ask them this question. I'm just curious, what's the probability of success of reaching all of your goals or your future with your current plans or current comprehensive plans? 60, 70, 80%? Where do you think you currently stand? And for 30 years, I've rarely had an answer to that question. They don't know where they stand, they don't know the probability, and they've never stress tested their portfolio. And the final question you can ask them is, do you have a network of professionals that is coordinated by your advisor to help you in all areas of your financial life? Not only just tax and estate, but other areas, real estate and lending and mortgage and all the areas coordinated by a professional. So these are what we call emotionally compelling offers or questions, which I'm going to show you in a minute. But here's the problem. Your best prospects, they don't know they're not getting this, do they? They don't know what they don't know. How do you take a client or prospect from I don't know what I don't know to now I know what I don't know? It's through critical conversations, and these are the offers you ask people. The offers are in the form of a question, asking really good questions. Would it be valuable to get clarity around your future and put that on paper? Would that be a valuable conversation if we did a 15-minute virtual coffee? Would it be valuable if we showed you how to get completely organized in your financial life? Would it be valuable if we showed you the total cost? Would it be valuable to understand the probability of success in reaching those goals? So when you're walking through people, what are your offers to your best prospects? What are your offers to your best clients? So number one, we want to deliver more value. Number two, we want to articulate to your prospects to let them know what they don't know and give them the conversations. These conversations are valuable because if they get deeper clarity around their future, they're going to see value. If they get completely organized, which is a very simpler process, they're going to see some value. If they understand the cost and the benefits, more value, and they start to see what a comprehensive plan is. Now, if you're a planner out there in the investment state space, the very least, what I would do is I would have your best sample plan simplified with great graphics and pictures and hand that copy to as many people as possible. Have you seen a comprehensive plan? Here's a sample. Take a look. Is this something you might be interested in having a conversation about? Because they've never seen it before. So having comprehensive planning and then coordinating the advice and eventually get to that legacy question. And we're going to talk about dealing with ideal wealthy families. So offering what we call 6 gold bricks. We're just going to give you these conversations. You might not give all 6 at once. You might give 1 or 2 in the first conversation and then the next 2 in the next conversation. But you're offering something of emotionally compelling value. And that's what we want to do. We want to change your offers. We want to change your language so that you are offering something of value to them. There's no benefit to learn about who you are, your company, your products and services. That's old school. We want to offer something of value and expect nothing in return. When they see value, they're saying, yeah, this has been great. It's going to be clearly obvious that they're not getting this from their current advisor. You took them from I don't know what I don't know to now I know what I don't know. So the next thing that I want to share with you is, we talked about getting organized in all 7 areas: tax, estate, investment, risk, insurance, debt, and cash flow. So having a process to help people get organized is critical. We know that the most successful advisors have a process. So what are your offers? What are your words? So the final thing I want to talk about today, we want to know that you are doing a great process. The best athletes in the world, they record themselves. They practice and master their craft. So what I highly encourage you to do is practice your conversations, record them, listen to yourself, and you're going to start to improve. Practicing and mastering your words and conversations is critical. So how are you going to find more of these people? We know the most successful advisors have process. And the most successful advisors that talk about practice management, which is about 3 things: process, process, process. They have deeper more detailed processes than the average advisor. So it takes time to work on these processes. Listing, finding, developing the strategies. So let's talk about some simple strategies to find a few more ideal clients. One of the things we talk about is a prospecting myth. Someone who's got a million rupees or dollars doesn't refer someone to $5 or $10 million rupees or dollars. So sometimes everyone says, I just grow my business by prospects. It's a bit of a myth. You're dealing with the same people over and over. You still need to do different strategies. So we know the most successful advisors use different strategies. They have different ideal client acquisition strategies. Let me share a couple with what the most successful advisors are doing. They have a favorable introduction process. And I want you to write this word down. You see, the industry talks about ideal clients, ideal households. I talk about ideal families. You get the whole family, the parents, the grandparents, the relatives, because it's so much easier to build trust within a family than just going and finding more clients. So build ideal families, and those ideal families will give you more favorable introductions. The second thing is we need to work with professionals. These are the people that are going to get you into working with ideal families. So you need to figure out who is working with ideal families now, and we do what's called fusion marketing. Start to work with them. Thinking about doing webinars or joint webinars with these people, doing feedback with these ideal families, and eventually getting a family meeting. Hugely valuable. Eventually getting what we call guerrilla marketing, which is more inbound marketing. And then finally, events, which is pretty much restricted these days. It's a little bit harder to get more clients through events these days. So when you start to build these processes out, when you start to deal with ideal families, you start to develop 2 to 4 referrals on a regular basis to ideal families. Your centers of influence, your accountants, lawyers, realtors, mortgage specialists, all those people, you develop 20 centers of influence, and they're going to develop potentially one, or two every single week if you've got a really solid network building out that process. So once you start to build out 2 or 3 processes, you're going to start to develop 10 to 15 ideal opportunities into ideal families every single month. So the whole goal is to build out processes. And that's really what I wanted to talk about today. So I thank you for our 20-minute time today to help you engage people emotionally, put together some proven prospecting processes to growing your business. So I'd like to thank AAFM and you for attending today, and I'll turn it back over to our host. We'll talk to you shortly when I interview my guest. Thank you for having me today. And I'm just going to wait for a second for our host to join back. Okay, and I got a few questions today. What are your best clients not getting? How do we find what our best clients are not getting today? Yes, we're all done. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time and attendance today, and I'll turn it back to the host. And I did have one question. If I could show the slide to help you get organized in all 7 areas again. Somebody asked for the slide. Tax, estate, investment, risk, insurance, debt, and cash flow, and your comprehensive plan. And putting together comprehensive strategies in all of those 7 areas and helping people get organized in all those 7 areas, because they're going to see how comprehensive your approach is and your value is to deliver to them. Great question. Thank you. Any other questions?
Grant sir, thank you so much for the wonderful presentation on implementing strategy for financial advisors. We had one question, sir, if you could answer, please. How do we find what our best clients are not getting today?
How do we find what our best clients are not getting today? So let's go back to what we talked about. So, how many financial advisors are getting all the clients' values and all the clients' goals clearly mapped out on paper? You see, a typical client has 6 goals on average. The, the average advisor gets 1 or 2, the elite advisor gets 5 or 6. So, getting clarity around their goals, their plans for their future clearly mapped out, getting them organized in all 7 areas. So are they organized in all 7 areas? And we'd love to see that. We'd love to see what that looks like. If they are organized, let's take a look at how they are organized. Do they understand what they're paying in dollars and more importantly, what they're getting? Do they understand everything that they're paying and getting? And then let's take a look at their current comprehensive plan. You see, I spoke at a conference of CFPs in Canada in January, 500 CFPs, and I asked a room full of 500 CFPs, how many people have seen a comprehensive plan that covers all 7 areas like this from their competitors in the last 5 years? 500, Dimple. 3 hands went up. No one is doing this for their best clients. What an awesome opportunity because people are asleep at the wheel because A, the clients have never seen these before, so get a sample together, or B, ask people, let's take a look at what your current plan says. And they go, magically, I can't find that plan because we know it doesn't exist. So they've been dealing with an advisor for 5 or 10 years and they don't have a plan. What does that tell you? Right? And so the final question, which is your network of professionals, and I always love this question. I ask everyone, hey, just curious, what's in your will? And I stop them in their tracks because I get 3 answers. I don't have one. Oh my goodness, we have to fix this now. Or I can't remember. It's a pretty important document, right? Or they actually kind of know or kind of have an idea. So what's in your will? Right? And you start off from an empathetic approach because you're trying to figure out, if something does happen to you today, Dimple, is your family going to be okay? We want to make sure that your family's going to be okay. It's starting from a position of emotion and empathy. Okay. That's so when we go through these, what we call 5 questions, and we get typically, I get in North America, anyways, I get 5 no's. I don't have this. Interesting. Okay. Would you like to have these conversations to help you get clarity, to help you get completely organized? Would you like to have those? These are just conversations, and I'll give them to you and send you on your merry way. You okay with that? I'm going to give you the conversations. Sound fair? Great
Right.
question.
So we have one more question from the participant.
Yes.
What,
So,
yeah, what does the risk management document include?
so when you look at someone and you manage all their wealth, but they haven't taken care of all their risks, no matter what you do on the planning side and the wealth side, that could completely derail it. So while we don't manage or do the risk, we have people that manage and do the risk for you. So what my buddy Dave taught me was making sure that you have a really good risk manager that looks at your client's risk profile in all areas. It might be life insurance, it might be other insurance. It looks at all risks in all different areas of their life, and that's valuable to them. So as long as we can manage all of their risks, the wealth can take care of itself. But we don't want to be stepping back if they don't have the risks taken care of. And so while you might not do that, it's critical that you coordinate those risk management pieces. You don't have to be an expert in tax or estate or risk. That's why you put together your network of professionals to help you coordinate this. That's the value. And it's what we call a mini family office. So the words that I want people to think about, the industry talks about clients and households. I want you to think about families, wealthy families. And now when you start to dig in and look at your clients and households, how many of those households could you turn into families? That's the opportunity, right? Every advisor I talk to, I've got 100 clients. How many wealthy families do you manage? About 10. Well, if we doubled that to 20 or 30 wealthy families, you're going to grow your business. That's what we want to focus on. So the one thing I would suggest anyone listening is go back and find out how many wealthy families or do you have or could you have in the next 1 or 2 years.
Thank you
Over to
so
you.
much, sir. Thank you so much. I'm sure the participant has got the answer. I would just like to thank you for taking out time on Sunday early morning there and attending, being a part of our annual event. For gracing the event, thank you so much once again. It's always pleasure to hear from you as your most loved and practice management coach among advisors. Thank you so much for sharing global practices with us. I'm sure the advice on the client acquisition and the 6 gold bricks that you just shared will be a good learning experience for all our participants today. Thank you once again, sir.